So the next one is from Gabe, and they ask us, what are our favorite books and what are we currently reading? Okay. Oh, favorite books is rough. This is actually kind of rough. What am I reading? I'm reading my books for school. So I'm reading you know, just going over my indigenous feminist literature again. Looking at Mohawk Interrupted by Audrey Simpson. Yeah, Red Pedagogy by Sandy Grande. Therapeutic Nations. I'm really actually trying to digest Diane Million's felt theory a little bit better because I see it having like application to social media discourse around using trauma as social capital. So I'm interested in that. I don't really like read for fun. I don't know, like, ooh, favorite books. It's biased to say The Red Deal. Like, can I talk about my favorite children's books? Just kidding. I'm sorry. I'm just like, I read for a living.
I know it's hard. I started reading My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, which is actually really good. I really liked it. It took me a while to like get into the writing because he's a fiction writer, you know, but it's good. And I like the story. I like the themes. Kaylee mentioned it in our podcast that we did with her. That was kind of what I was reading for fun. I think like the two books that really stick out in my mind were like books that I read this year that I really like, you know, like hit me hard were the Rehearsals for a Living by Leanne Simpson and Robin Maynard. And it's kind of like about looking at like the 2020 George Floyd uprising and the pandemic through this kind of abolitionist framework. And it's this epistolary, these letters between these two thinkers. I really like that. I thought that it was really useful. And then kind of another similar book in that vein is Necro-Capitalism, a Plague Journal, which was written by a collective called Miasma. But I thought it was really good because it just goes back through that time, and it was started off as like a blog, but it really kind of like relives 2020 and like the rise of Biden, you know, and Trumpism and all that stuff. In a really, I think we need to like, I don't know like how it's weird because like there was all these books written in that time, I guess, or like there's books coming out from that time, and like very few have really captured, in my opinion, like the kind of potent and latent revolutionary energy, and like how that kind of potent and latent energy was co-opted into this like really awful way. And so I like those ones as well. And also like I'm just really into horror right now, and I guess you could consider watching horror films as a form of reading, but I just watched Hellraiser yesterday, which is like a wild ride. I rewatched the new remake of the Halloween trilogy for our upcoming podcast episode. And I watched Scanners, which is like I didn't like that movie that much, but I've been watching a lot of horror movie. There's this one, it's called, I get a subscription to Shudder every October and just binge watch horror. And I'm trying to think of what it was called. It's called like, hold on, it's probably on my Shudder right now. It was a goofy one. It's about this like live streamer who like goes into a haunted house, and it has all this commentary on like clout chasing. Deadstream, that's what it's called. And it's all this commentary on clout chasing, getting canceled, reactionary kind of politics from, you know, streamers and things like that. I thought that was a good one. Horror, the genre of horror actually does something. It allows people to talk about kind of society in ways that they wouldn't otherwise be able to. But those are the things that I'm quote unquote reading. Also, I read The Withdrawal, which is really good, by Chomsky and Vijay Prashad. I'm hopefully going to get them on the show. That was a really good book. But yeah, those are the things that come to mind